Welcome to Second Edition. Is Nate ready if disaster occurred on campus? We'll tell you more on a unique simulation.
Also, spring has sprung its way into the Enjoy Center, bringing hundreds of orchids with it for the annual Orchid Fair.
And a look at what the Edmonton Elks' 75th season celebrations are bringing to Edmonton this year. The old saying about be prepared is something Nate takes seriously. Last Friday, Nate's students from 6 health science programs participated in an emergency response simulation to ensure readiness in case of disaster. The simulated building collapse scenario was designed by disaster and emergency management students. This is the first time that students from the program have participated in a training event with other health science programs.
Ultimately, simulations is one of our biggest things within advanced care paramedicine and every paramedic practice. The more that we can simulate and the more that we can execute these rare and once-in-a-career kind of events, the better prepared we are for when they actually occur.
Students learn to collaborate together with other healthcare professionals in a high-stress environment. The programs are hoping for the joint exercise to become an annual tradition.
Alberta is preparing for a busy wildfire season as drought conditions spark concern. The government of Alberta is investing $35 million through the proposed 2024 budget to manage water usage and prevent future droughts. There are 4 pillars the government will be focusing on.
We're focusing on 4 pillars: water storage, water management, water conservation, and finally, real-time data and information. To that end, we will also be investing $4.5 million into fast-tracking important studies to explore creating a new Ardley water reservoir in the Red Deer River Basin.
The government will also be investing $8.7 million in wetlands and watersheds as they can help to store water and maintain water levels in lakes, rivers, and bodies of water.
Flowers will be budding soon, but some hobbyist growers couldn't wait. Orchid enthusiasts flocked to the Enjoy Center in St. Albert this weekend for the Orchid Society of Alberta's 43rd Annual Orchid Festival. "15,000 square feet were filled with orchid vendors and competitive displays. Local as well as international vendors were present at the event.
We have several vendors from Taiwan. We have one Equigenera from Ecuador. We have a new vendor from Toronto, not exactly international, but from not local.
Dozens of rare and unusual varieties of orchids were on display at the festival, as well as orchid-themed art, showcasing just some of the 30,000 species from around the globe.
For many, spring break is a time to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life and get away. But with confirmed cases of measles in Canada, you may want to rethink those travel plans. Carter Deleeu is a NAIT student who likes to visit his grandparents in Vernon to clear his mind during a tough semester, but he's concerned that the rising cases of measles may put a halt to his plans. There are currently 7 active cases of measles in Canada, and health officials are concerned given how contagious the virus is.
So measles is a really highly contagious virus. It's airborne and it lives in the air for up to 2 hours and it stays on surfaces. So about 90% of people you come in contact with will contract the virus, and you're contagious for about 4 days before and after you get that rash. So you might not even know that you have the illness and you're still spreading it to people.
This year we can't travel to Vernon to see our grandparents due to the measles outbreak, and we just don't want to infect my family and my grandparents and others in the area. So,
if you or a family member are concerned about measles, visit www.canada.ca/measles for info on symptoms and treatments.
The Edmonton Elks have some of the richest history out of all major Edmonton sports teams. The team revealed some of their plans to celebrate this year's big milestone.
But first, Arnaud Pomeroy shows us how the Edmonton Oil Kings ended off their season with celebration instead of defeat.
Thanks, guys. It has been a long season for the Edmonton Oil Kings, as they won't make it to the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row, but they won't end the season on a low note, as the Oil Kings held their annual award ceremony for the last game of the 2023-24 season. It was a packed house Sunday night as we saw over 17,000 fans come out and watch the Oil Kings in action against the Red Deer Rebel. Just before puck drop, we saw the award ceremonies take place at center ice. 9 awards were given out to individual players, some notable winners being Gavin Honnett winning his second top scorer award with 70 points on the season, Adam Jecko winning the top rookie award, and Marc Lajoie winning the top defenseman and the most valuable player award. Lajoie, alongside of Skylar Bruce and Ty Nash, were honored as they'll be graduating from the WHL and moving forward with their hockey careers. Gavin Honnett spoke on the importance the Overagers had on the team.
Especially our young players, I think they were, such great influences, and me still being a young player as well, I think they had a great influence on me as well, and once again, can't thank them enough.
Time to jump into action as the Oil Kings Overagers strike early in the first as Skylar Bruce scores his 15th on the year, with Ty Nash getting an assist on that one. Just a couple minutes later, the Rebel would tie things up at 1, but the Oil Kings would end the first period on top as Marc Lajoie continues his historical season with his 25th on the year. Second period, we see a dominant performance by the Oil Kings as we see 3 straight goals, with Gavin Honnett scoring a beautiful shorthanded breakaway goal. It is 5-1 for the Oil Kings after the second. The third period would see the Rebel try and make a last-ditch comeback, but the Oil Kings would complete the storybook ending as all 3 Overagers would contribute to the empty net goal, and the Edmonton Oil Kings take this one 6-3 and end their season on a high note. The Edmonton Elks have been around since 1949. I'm not a big math guy, but this marks the 75th year of the Elks, and they have some big plans to celebrate. Management, Elks alumni, and current players filled the seats in their own locker room as the Elks show off their brand new 75th anniversary logo. The new logo's design has so much detail, like the 14 lights representing the Elks' 14 Grey Cups and the club's original EE logo from back in the 70s. The Elks also plan to celebrate their alumni throughout the season.
This milestone season, it's important to recognize the pivotal role of the alumni in preserving the legacy of the Edmonton Elks.
The Elks also plan to create an all-decade team throughout the season. They will create the greatest 50s team and then eventually be selecting an all-time Elks team, which will be voted on by the fans. Speaking of awards, a team full of NAIT engineering students came away with a couple awards from this year's Great Northern Concrete Toboggan Race.
I have no clue what a concrete toboggan is.
Me either, but congratulations to our NAIT team. Thanks, Noah. That's a look at our top stories for the week. When we come back, learn about how food delivery jobs are affecting the restaurant industry and its future.
And tips on how to keep your animals safe during the Easter season.
All this and more after the break.
It can be argued that people need money more than ever, and gig jobs like food delivery drivers are becoming more common to bring in extra cash. However, some restaurants are struggling to adapt.
Our Curtis Goodrum sat down with a local college economist to find out more.
Thanks, guys. I'm Curtis Goodrum with Second Edition, and as food delivery apps become more popular because of COVID-19, restaurants are struggling to adapt to the times. I'm sitting down with Dr. Jahangir, a professor at McEwen University, to discuss why this might be.
What is the impact of these apps, ride shares, food delivery, on other businesses?
So the rich people, I would say, when the pandemic hit, right? What happened with the pandemic? The rich people could isolate themselves in their homes, and then they could order online. Food was expensive. No money was no big deal. They ordered it. Poor people, they were not able to depend on these apps, right? So the apps, basically, in terms of businesses, I would say that they could provide an opportunity to some businesses, but wreck other businesses.
How far do you see this trend of these gig-based economy jobs continuing?
So unless and until a countervailing power rises, this trend is there to stay. It will not subside, and it will get worse. How? With the rise of AI and automation. When that happens, things will go further down.
How much is COVID-19 to blame for the rise in these rideshare-based food delivery apps?
I would say COVID-19 did not start it. I would say COVID-19 exacerbated it. It basically, so if the move towards these types of gig economy jobs was moving at, say, a snail pace, let's assume that, then COVID-19 gave it a turbo boost. That's what it did. It didn't start it, it just amplified it.
Thanks to the insights of Dr. Junaid Jahangir, we now know that this trend is here to stay. I'm Curtis Goodwin with Second Edition. Thanks for watching.
As our beer lovers out there may know, the International Beer Festival was held last weekend.
Our Astarte Lazo gives us a taste of this year's Beer Fest.
Thanks, guys. I'm Astarte Lazo with Second Edition, and today I'm at the Edmonton Convention Center for the first day of Edmonton's International Beer Fest, where I'll be sitting down with Sean Farmer, who is the founder of the largest beer festival in Western Canada. Whoa. Hello, Sean. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. What is the history behind Beer Fest? Like, how did it all start?
Yeah, like it's actually kind of like an interesting one. It happened really organically. I was like really young, you know, probably in like my early 20s, and it was like it started as like small little get-togethers, and it progressed to like organized events. But they were like the first ones were small, 300 people. I even had one over on U of A campus. And it was always just about like bringing, and at the time there wasn't very many breweries, so it happened really organically. It was friends that had product that worked in the industry, and then friends that I had that were in bands that played on stage.
And how has the festival grown and evolved throughout the years?
Yeah, like I said, it was really small to start, and so like every year it grows a little bit and a little bit more, and it's progressed into like the entirety of the Edmonton Convention Center. But yeah, like it started as like 300 people and smaller, and then every year kind of grew incrementally until what we have now.
And how do you feel about winning the 2024 Canadian Choice Award?
Oh, like obviously excited. It's great to get any kind of acknowledgement, let alone an award. And yeah, like we were thrilled, right? You never go into it expecting to do that. It's like it's usually just like something that kind of like it's a happy accident when it happens out of like something that you're proud of, that you've done your whole career, and then that you're like actually enjoy doing.
And how many vendors usually cater to this event?
We have about 100 vendors that'll represent about 300 products, from international to more local and craft guys. And yeah, it's always kind of one of those things that like you want to have adequate representation from all like the majors and all of the independents.
I hope you learned more about Beer Fest. And to my beer lovers out there, now you know where to go. Once again, I'm Astarte Lazo for Second Edition. Cheers.
Cheers.
The Edmonton Humane Society enriches the lives of people and companions through animal sheltering, programs and services, and community engagement.
Our Alicia Victor sat down with the CEO of the Edmonton Humane Society to learn more about the importance of animal safety with Easter around the corner.
I'm going to sit down with the CEO of the Edmonton Humane Society, Lisa Soley, and we're going to talk about it. With the Easter season coming up, are you guys expecting more adoptions than normal? What's your busiest season for adoptions?
Yeah, we're busy, throughout the year, but certainly when there's holidays coming up, we find that a lot of people are interested in adding a furry or feathered friend to their family. So yeah, we would anticipate that over the Easter long weekend, we will have lots of families coming in and visiting the animals.
So there was a blog posted on your website about Easter safety with animals. Are there any specific things people should look out to with the Easter season upon us?
Yeah, really important to think about pets when we're preparing for holidays, especially a holiday like Easter. So thinking about chocolate is definitely important. There's a chemical in chocolate that is toxic to dogs in particular. And so really important to make sure that animals are supervised. And especially when you're thinking about like Easter egg hunts and things like that, important to keep track of where you've hidden things. Don't hide things in areas where pets can access them. And also thinking about, primarily with cats, the interest in the grass that people use at the bottom of Easter baskets is really important. That's really would be a lot of fun for cats to play with. But if it's ingested, it can cause intestinal blockages. So really important to keep that out of reach of your animals.
And what is the process people have to go to if they're looking to adopt?
So folks can either come down to the shelter or visit our website. And if they see an animal that they think is going to be the perfect one for them, then just registering their interest through a form on our website right now. And then we make appointments for folks to come on in and do a meet and greet and work through all of that.
And now for your Easter egg hunts, hopefully you're a little more prepared on how to keep your animals safe. I'm Alicia Victor with Second Edition.
Well, it's too bad I missed out on Beer Fest. I'll have to go to it next year.
After the break, our hosts bring you some fun spring activities to liven up your long weekend. Welcome back to Second Edition.
We'll learn how to make some fun Easter egg crafts to give your home a spring feeling.
And how to bake Easter treats. And Colton, what's with the fascination with clowns?
Wouldn't call it a fascination per se, but I do like to put on some makeup and goof around. So I did, and tried to make churros. Bad combination. But first we break down this year's March Madness brackets. If that's a foreign concept to you, Reese Revel is here to give you a big dance for dummies orientation.
Hi, I'm Reese Revel, and this is why I'm going to show you how to properly watch college basketball. So I'm here to break down how March Madness works. This is a bracket divided into 4 different divisions: East, South, Midwest, and West. Each of these divisions contains 16 teams seeded 1 through 16, 1 being the best and 16 being the worst. This whole tournament goes on over 3 weekends. The first weekend contains the round of 64, which is 64 different teams going up against each other. Winner of that 1-game series moves on to the round of 32. After that, the Sweet 16, which takes place this weekend. But first, I'm going to show you how you can get involved in this. Come on. Back to the bracket. This is how you get involved. Basically, this year there's 22 million brackets that have been submitted. Some people study this stuff, spending hours at the computer. Others, they just pick a favorite color. So basically, even if you know anything about basketball, the odds of you hitting this are never gonna happen. If you don't know anything, they say that your odds are 1 in 9 quintillion. That's a 9 with 18 zeros behind it, unfathomable. Even if you know anything about basketball, your odds only jump to 1 in 120 billion. Super awesome. Tournament starts at 10:16 on Thursday this year. 6 hours later, there was only 5.6% of brackets still perfect. And by 11 o'clock that night, 0.00038% of the brackets were perfect. And by the following day, about 24 hours later, 0 brackets remained perfect. Nobody's gonna get it this year. And the odds of it ever happening are really 0. This weekend, the Sweet 16 takes place as well as the Elite 8. Both games are single game elimination just like the rest of the tournament. That means the following weekend, we'll get to see the Final Four and the championship game take place. Connecticut is the favorite to win the tournament, but watch out for Purdue and 7'4" Canadian center, Zach Edey. Both teams are ranked number 1 in their respective divisions. This concludes your lesson on March Madness. Hopefully you learned something to tune in this year and enjoy, and next year build the perfect bracket.
With the winter season dying out and spring just hitting right around the corner, all these waterfowls are soaring high in the sky. And you might think, maybe I should do some gardening. And you should, because spring is going to be one heck of a season. Your friend might be a gardener, your family might be a farmer. However, chances are those bouquets could be very expensive. And that being said, you might take quite a long time to grow these flowers. So why not make one that lives forever? My name is Eugene Jacob, and I'm your Second Edition host for Crafting 25, where I'll be showing you 3 crafts that you can make right at your home. Now then, shall we get started? Eventually, I'm gonna get through all of these 3 crafts so that you can visualize and see what the final product would look like, at least in your terms. Of course, these materials are probably going to be $50 at most, but really, you just need $25 just for one specific craft. The point of crafting 25 in this show is to make sure that you have these endless options with just $25. For example, a picture frame that you can paint. I'm thirsty. Also, it's a different day. Now, because of the picture frame, you can store your memories easily that way. But what about something that's a little more on that card side? Well, of course, you have some paper here that you can work with. With that being said, you should be able to get some writing done. And of course, last but not least, you can make yourself a mini terrarium with a simple $2 glass jar. And there you have it. 3 beautiful crafts that you can enjoy in your spring holiday. I hope you have a humble and very lovely weekend for a crafty success.
Welcome to Cooking with Clowns. Today we're making churros, one of my favorite carnival snacks. First, you're going to get a small saucepan and combine water, sugar, salt, and vegetable oil on medium heat. Sorry, got a little excited. Yeah. Look at all that water. We add the water to the pan. That's 1, 2 1/2. One and 2. Now we're going to turn that to medium heat. Ah! Looks like an egg. So it's stopped boiling. You're going to get your flour. You're going to put it in. Just a big old blob of flour. Just going to mix it. Just going to mix it with your spoon. Until it forms a ball. Until it forms a ball. Look at that. Look at that dough. You're going to want to fry anything that says for deep frying. This oil looks crazy. With the oil on the stove, we now just need to wait for it to boil, which is going to take a while. It's going to get up to around 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Before that, we're going to get our piping bag. If you don't have one, just take a plastic bag and cut the tip off. I have piping tips and weird bags, so I'm obviously a real baker. Dough. Put it in the bag. Yeah, just going. You always want proper piping bags, because if not, it could break free. Good thing I'm a clown. But who do you think I am, a professional? Obviously I am, look at me. You're gonna get a long strip of dough. Can I burn oil? We're now gonna deep fry the churros. After playing a game of how many times can I burn my hands, we are done deep frying the churros. For the cinnamon sugar, we're going to combine 1/2 cup of cinnamon, 1/2 cup of sugar, and just mix it. Add it on. And that's how you make these churros. If I can make them look like this, you can make a real churro. But now let's do the taste test. I'm Colton Sabo, 2nd edition.
Hi,
I'm Rebecca with Second Edition, and today we are putting a bit of an Easter spin on the classic chocolate chip cookies. So to start, you'll want to preheat your oven to 350. You'll want 1.5 cups of flour, 1/3 cup light brown sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, a bit of salt, some baking soda, vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of butter, 1 egg, and then of course the chocolate chips and the mini eggs. Granulated sugar and the brown sugar next. You'll want to dump those in with the butter. And then set the bowls aside. And then you'll want to cream these 3 things together. So you'll just start just pushing it down of vanilla extract. We'll also be adding 1 egg. And set the shell aside. And you will mix those together. Okay. And once those 3 things are mixed together, you'll pour them into your wet ingredients. Okay. And then you now enjoy the delicious cookies you've made.
Well, I'd like to make some of those spring crafts.
And I want to try my hand at making those Easter egg cookies.
Thank you for joining us for today's Second Edition.
Enjoy your holiday weekend and be sure to come back next week for our 3rd show.